So now let's go and fill all these values that we have in our state, that is the name, email, and the admin status, okay, of the particular user. So let's grab that from our database and autofill these values, and also we'll be making this delete button work. Okay, so we have within our user list screen. So let's go ahead and do that. So for that, I'm going to my backend, and within the user controller, I'm going to create a function to get the particular user details. Okay, so we are going to grab the id of the user from the params, and also we'll create another function in order to delete the user. Okay, so let's now go ahead and create a function to let's call it get user by id, and set this to a function within the async handler. Again, I forgot to turn off my copilot, right? Otherwise I'm cheating in front of you all, right? So let's now grab the user that is coming from await user dot find by id, and we are going to pass in the id from the request parameters, right? So now let's check if the user exists. So if the user exists, then we are going to pass this in the form of a response. So res dot status, that is 200. Okay, and we're going to send in the json of the particular user. Okay, so if there's any user that doesn't exist in our database, so we are going to throw an error. So we can just say else, or we don't even need the else. Okay, so anyways, so res dot status 404 not found, throw new error, user not found. Alright, so that's done, and now let's go and create another function to delete the user. Okay, so let's do all of that in this one video. So export const it is just const delete user. Looks like something's wrong. I guess I missed some comma or somewhere. I actually forgot to close this common bracket. So delete user, again the async handler, async request response, and now let's get the id from the params. Okay, so let's call this id and await user dot find by id again. Alright, so we have the id now, so we need to like find in our database the particular user. So let's call that let's check if the user exists. So if user, then we are going to delete the particular user, okay, by making a call to this function. Okay, sorry, this should be user. Okay, so the user exists, we are going to call the delete method on the user instance. So let's await user dot delete one. Okay, so we are going to delete one based on the id. Okay, so so we are going to specify the id field, so that is underscore id, and set that to rec dot params dot id. Okay, so if that match, then we are going to delete the user. Okay, so something's wrong, I just need to wrap this in a bracket, and yeah, so that will go ahead and delete that, and we just need to save the user. So let's send the response, that is 204, which means that something is deleted. So I guess I didn't do that for our product controller, right? This should be anyways, we didn't even mention the status code, so let's mention that status 204, which means that something is deleted. Okay, so now let's pass in the json response. um, let's pass in the message. Okay, so let's call this message. It's not like this, within the curly, sorry, within the common bracket, and we are going to pass in an object with the message property saying that user deleted successfully. All right, so that's done. So if there is no user, let's throw the response. I'm just going to copy this and change this to again, yeah, user not found. Okay, so 404 is the status code, which means not found. Let's go ahead now and export these two functions. So get user by id and then the delete user. Okay, so that's done. Now let's go and create a route for this. So within our user route, so I'm going to chain another method to this colon id, that is to get the user by id. So this will be a get request to this should only be restricted to the admins. Okay, remember that. So and we are going to pass in the admin middleware and going to call the get user by id function. Let's auto import, and also let's create one more for deleting. So let's create one. Probably where should we create? Let's go right below this, router dot route, that is to slash delete. I guess we can just do the same. We can just chain, because we also need the id to delete, right? So I just forgot about that. So we are going to chain in delete method, and again pass in all these middlewares and call the delete user function. Okay, so that's done. Now let's go to our front end and make a call to this backend API, so that we can perform those actions, to get the user by ID and also to delete. So let's go to our client, and within our slices we have the user API slice, right? So let's create two endpoints for both of them. So for the get, right, I'm just going to create one to get a particular user right below this get users. So let's duplicate this, alt shift down arrow in order to duplicate a selected value. So this is going to be get user by id. All right, and this is again going to be builder.query, since we are just making a get request. So the query will just be actually we need to pass in the particular id, right? So let's grab the id, and this is going to the user's url slash the id. Okay, so let's make this a template literal, and make this a dynamic value. uh, Users url slash the id. All right, so that's done. We'll get the user by id, and let's create one to delete the user. So that's going to be a mutation, and let's duplicate this. Let's call this delete user, and this is going to be a builder.mutation, where we will be receiving the id of the user to be deleted, and this is going to users url slash the id. Okay, so not users.id, and this method is going to be delete. Make sure you specify that, that's very important. And the body, we are not going to pass in any body, right? So that's done. Let's now export these two. Use get user by id query, and finally the use delete user mutation. So that's done. Is there any error? I guess it looks good. Okay, so let's now go ahead and mount this on our screen. So let's go to a user edit screen, and let's now put in the default values for these state, okay, that we have. So let's grab that from our database. So I'm going to destructure the data and rename this to uh, what shall we rename this to? Is there any user variable? I guess it's not, right, so we can just call that user, and let's get the is loading state and error if we in case fail to fetch, right? So let's get that from use get user by id query. That's auto imported, and we need to rename this as well. So loading user, like that, user. Okay, so and now let's go and fill in this initial value. So that is going to be user dot name and user dot email. All right, what's wrong? My pc is slow. again user dot is admin. Okay, so that's done. Now let's just test it if everything is working. So now let's go to the users, and we see all the users, right? And let's edit genes. So we get something undefined. Maybe I need to like put an optional chaining because it tries to fetch the data before it is even actually fetched. Okay, so let's do that. So let's put a question mark right after this user, like that. Okay, now let's have a look. If for some reason we don't see the values, so let's try it once again. Reload. Maybe it failed to make the request. There was some error, I guess. So let's have a look at our network tab. Refresh. It says undefined. Maybe okay. Actually, I forgot to pass in the ID. So we just need to pass in the ID, right, to get the user. So ID. Now does it make a successful request? I guess it's this one, right? My PC is slow. Anyway, so let's have a look. So if I refresh, still I don't see the values. If my PC is fast, I could do it fatafat, like do it very quickly. It's very slow because it's I have a bunch of files like scrambled all around my PC, right? So that sometimes becomes slow. So anyways, so let's test it out. We get a 3 or 4. I don't know why you get this 3 or 4. If you know, please let me know in the comments, like if you have any opinion on that. We get the response, but I don't know, still we don't see the values in our state. Okay, I mean within our form. So let's console log and have a look. You see, we have successfully made the request. We are also getting the response also, but for some reason I'm still getting this 3 or 4. I don't know what is the reason. I've been getting this multiple times. If you have any opinion, please share it in the comments. So let me just go back and try it once again. So let's refresh and click on edit. Still the same issue. See, we get the object also about the user information. So the name, email, the is admin flag, and all of that. So maybe I just need to like remove this password. Okay, so that's a bad practice in order to like send in along with the password. Okay, so then we have within our network tab. Let's refresh and see once again. Again, I get a 3 or 4. So I'll just have a look and get back. So I just found the issue. The update user function needs to be at the top, okay, right next to this get user by ID query. So I guess all of your Redux toolkit queries, we just need to define at the top and then state at the bottom, right? So I just tried this. It actually worked. So if I just show you, if I just click on edit, you see, I guess I need to refresh. Uh, yeah, so sometimes it doesn't happen, right? So we have this information like autofilled, and also if you want we can make this is admin to like true and click on update. You see now Gendo is now an admin, so we do not see the actions. Okay, so if you want you can just go to Gendo and like try to log in, and you see that you'll find an admin drop down like this. Okay, so which means that even she is an admin now. So I guess everything's working. Let's try one for this. I don't know, for initially it doesn't work. If I refresh or if I try to come back and click edit, it works. You see, I guess I need to use a refetch function. It has to like fetch in the like the fresh data, right? So let's figure it out how actually to do it. So right now I've made use of the use effect hook such that if the user exists, okay, so we immediately want to set the properties of name, email, and is admin to the particular values that the user has in the database, right? So I just changed it this a little bit because sometimes some functions will be running asynchronously behind, like in the background. So that is why sometimes without so even if it is undefined, it will just go ahead and use that value. So we, in this condition, we are just checking if the user actually exists, okay, or if it transitions from undefined to a certain value. So we are going to capture that within this dependency array, okay. So whenever the user value changes, it is going to run this function which will set the values within our state, okay. So if I just try that, you see, if I click on any one of these, you see for a moment it actually didn't have that value, and after that when the user data is fetched, only then it filled these values, okay. So I just wanted to explain you how does everything work, like how to deal with errors and such kind of situations, so that you can whenever you encounter this, you can fix this problem, right? So that is why we use some hooks like use effect in the first place. So I guess you got to know how to exactly do this. So I can just now go ahead and edit this and click on update. You see that the email is now edited, and I can do the same again, okay. So for some reason it is not showing me the updated email. So if I refresh, now it is because it, I guess it was cached, okay. So it was using the cache value. So anyways, so let's update that same to the previous value. So that's working fine, right? So I'll, behind the scenes, I'll just, enable all these actions in the database. Now let's handle the delete user part. So I'm going to import that hook that we created to delete the user in our database. So let's destructure delete product, sorry, delete, what is that, user, and let's get that from use delete product mutation, like that. And we have this delete user function, right? So let's call this function once we click on this delete button, okay. So I'm just going to give a on click handler on click. So it should run a function passing the id of the user, okay. So let's call this function on delete, and let's pass in the id. So that is user dot underscore id, okay. So let's create that function right above this on delete, sorry, it should be const, and set this to a function which receives the id. All right, so let's now create a, like, confirm window, okay. So if the user clicks on okay, only then we are going to delete. So let's grab that, I guess we created within our product list screen, right? Yeah, so let's copy this line of code and go to our user list screen and paste that here. And once the user clicks okay, we are going to execute this block. So let's open our try catch. Okay, so within the try, we are going to await the delete user function, and we are going to pass in the id, like that, okay. So we need to make this async. All right, so let's put in our toast message, toast.success, saying that uh, actually we can grab the response first, okay. So we have a message property, right? So let's display that rest dot message, and let's so actually, do we need to navigate? I don't think so, right? So let's use the refetch. I guess we need to destructure that as well. Refetch, I guess that's the third or fourth parameter, I'm not sure. Let's okay, actually we already have this for our use get users query, okay. So I had some problems in pronouncing that. So let's call that refetch, like that. And yeah, so we are done. Now let's catch the error from our previously done errors. Okay, so that's done. Now let's go and test it if everything's working. So now let's go to the users and let's try to delete Steve. Okay, so I just temporarily created this, I no longer need it. So if I click on delete, it will prompt me, do we need to sorry, I just forgot I forgot to edit this. Okay, so if I click on OK, it should delete the user. For some reason it didn't. Let's try it once again. Okay, so not edit. Okay, so it actually failed to delete this. So what is the response do we get? Product not found. Actually it's not products, it's users. Why is it products? Did I make a call to products? I guess. Let's go to our user API slice. Did I call the products or users? I called the users, right? So use delete user. Did I call delete product? Is that user list screen? Yeah, yeah. For by mistake, I called this product. Okay, so it's not product. It is user. Delete user mutation. Let's import that one. Sorry, my bad. So let's also edit this. Are you sure you want to delete this user like that? Okay, so let's call this function delete user, and yeah, so everything is fine. Let's now have a look. So if I click on, I guess I need to refresh and then try it out. Now let's click on this. I guess Steve is no longer there. I guess it already made a successful request to it. Anyway, so I'll just try to delete this and again recreate the user back. So delete. Yeah, so I guess our user is now successfully deleted, and for some reason we don't see the toast message. I guess there's some problem in rearranging this, like keeping this in order. Okay, so maybe that is the reason. I'll just figure that out how exactly it is to be done, and I will make a separate video of all the bugs that we have within our application, so that you can learn something from it and don't repeat it in your application. Okay, so for now I'll just keep it as is, and also let's handle this is loading and error part. Okay, so let's grab that from some already done loading and error messages like that. So let's copy it. So let's go right above the return and paste that in. Okay, so if it is loading, then we want to show a spinner. Of course we need to import it, and if there's any error, we are going to show that error in the form of a toast message. So I guess everything is done. We don't need this. By mistake I did that. So we have everything working nice and good. So I guess we are done for managing the users, products and orders within our like as an admin. So we are done for all that. So now, right now we will be moving to the products. Okay, so we didn't add a feature to write a review. Okay, so any user who has like purchased this product or has logged in can write a review, and we'll be showing the number of stars and also the comment on this product. Okay, so and we'll be displaying all of that in the form of a list. Okay, so we have already created that particular array in our database to store all the reviews, okay, about this about each product, which is mapped to each particular product with all the information. So let's go now and like make that reviews feature, and any user who's logged in only should be able to write a review, and like that. Okay, so let's do that in the next video.